Dana.
Good morning.
So I Think Different Global really want to talk to you about your energy work and the job that you do to make humanity thrive, basically. Do you want to
Sure.
talk to do you want to talk to us about that?
Sure, I can talk a little bit about it. I've just started doing coaching, using the online format. I've always had this gift, but I kind of stuffed it down. So it wasn't until I sort of just started putting out some things like, hey, who would like a free reading? And then I was like done with my first reading and going, how was I brave enough to do that? I didn't know if I could do that over the internet, because it's always been something that I use my gift in person. So what I found fascinating is that I can be talking to one person, in Serbia, and then the next minute somebody in Australia, and but the energy and is the same everywhere. I work with both women and men. I didn't see that. I thought I would probably draw mostly women, but what I'm finding is that everyone is doing some kind of spiritual growth that I've run into, and I'm just sort of like a facilitator, helping them to maybe see something that is right there that they can't quite figure out where their block is coming from. But everyone has this drive to, and I don't know if it's what's been happening in the world, but I feel like everybody's like waking up to like life as we know it is just not enough anymore. We want more, but we want to not observe it. We want to experience it and be part of it, which I think is beautiful and something that really woke me up to, wow, I'm talking to this person here and this person there, and they want the same thing at the same time. And I think that that is something that we all need to pay attention to. I think
Yeah.
that that's amazing, and something significant is happening in the world. And so part of my work has just been, just talking to people and sometimes putting people together. Like, okay, you're saying the same thing in your corner of the world, and this person's saying the same thing. I think you need to talk, and it's just been a beautiful experience.
I love that. I love
Yeah,
that.
I'm really
So
excited about your program as well. That gets me super excited because everyone is saying the same thing. They want to be a part of something, and I feel like everybody is like a cog in the like a little part of the wheel of this big thing that is happening. I don't know what it is. I don't know that any of us exactly know what it is, but I know that it's all a beautiful thing. Like nobody's talking to me like, oh, I want to do this and I want to get this for myself. Everybody's talking about, yes, wanting joy and happiness for themselves, but then they also are talking about wanting to be a part of a bigger picture.
yeah, yeah.
And I think,
I find that too right now. There's a lot of people. I think that's also why we are super excited about this movement of collecting people who have the same goal for like a thriving humanity. And it starts from yourself, right? So these are the people who reach out to you and figure out, why do I feel I have this need to share in this joy and happiness that I feel, right? People are reaching
yeah,
more out to figure out what's going on.
yeah, it's sort of like my posts, like if I post something like, hey, talking to a lot of people around the globe, people are having a really good experience with my energy scans, but it's almost like it's a light that was that like it's like a beacon of light energetically. I don't even think it matters what the words say. I think people are just drawn to me because somehow they know that whatever it is that they need or they need to be a part of, somehow they need to talk to me.
Yeah.
And I don't understand that, but I love it. And I'm just going with it because what else, it's a beautiful thing. And it just seems to be connecting people, and everybody, is lighter after we talk. Sometimes it's just validation that, we're not, sometimes you can feel, for lack of a better word, a little crazy because you're like, am I the only person that, and you think, well, what can I do? But what can we all do? If we're all doing it, we can change it. But I think there's like this mindset that we've been um, taught or told that, oh, what are you going to change? What do you know, like we've talked about with educating, children on emotional intelligence. And I think everybody's saying the same thing to me from all different corners of the world, which my posts say nothing about. Like, I want to teach children emotional intelligence. If only we teach the children emotional intelligence. If only we can teach them how to have joy. If only we can. And I'm like, everybody's saying the same thing. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think everyone's tired of, like, you know, the school systems. And, I years and years ago, I homeschooled my kids for many, many years because I just didn't get the whole school system thing. It just wasn't giving them, I wanted them to have their values in place before they were around other children. But if we can do those two things at the same time, I think that that would be such a great learning experience, and it would just change humanity and in the best way. And I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, I agree. That is really one of my, well, that's one of my thing too, is to give the kids to the children, yeah, they're in a way their childish power back, to be curious and open-minded and open-hearted, and maybe they can teach the grown-ups to do the same. So yeah, I am super excited about this whole movement. Even I feel I'm not entirely sure of what it is that we are going to do, but I can feel it's going to have a huge impact, and it's going to change a lot of people for the better. And they are going to change other people for the better. And that's the way that I think we all are going to thrive more, to be more aware of there's a different way that we can communicate with each other. We can use a different language. There's things that we don't necessarily need anymore. Um, yeah, I think the human race is about to evolve into something that's very beautiful.
I agree. And because of, the internet, and because of platforms like Facebook and Instagram and all those things, it's no longer like an American thing. And, it's like we realize that we don't have to look at it as separate states, separate towns, separate. And now we're looking at the country. And now I think people are going, well, why are we not just doing like a global education system? Like, why? Like, it's like,
Yeah.
we're starting to not, we're going, not, I don't want to even say think outside the box, because I feel like we went from inside the box to like into the universe, with our thinking,
Yeah.
in a leap.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we did too. There's a paradigm shift for sure. That's like run on pure energies. There's nothing we can do about it. But it's the good energy that's coming. And we need it because more and more people have just had enough with what we already have. And I think that's how things always is. Things needs to fall apart and be completely broken, and then we can rebuild something new. I'm just seeing that this time, not necessarily we need to burn anything down in our society, because we have a lot of human wanting to thrive, and we can shift. We can wake up one morning and feel completely different. So we don't have to go down the black or the horror or the burning or the whatever we used to do in like world history, basically. I think that we, this time around, maybe we are smarter.
I
Maybe we
agree.
have more compassion for each other. And maybe we can even, help each other, all of us, share wisdom and knowledge so we can do better. When we know better, we can do better. So I think this time we are a lot of people out there feeling that we know better, that we have better understanding of where it is we're going as humans and what it is we're going for. I think the UN 17 goal of a sustainable developed world is a very good, smart place to start for all of us.
Yeah, and I think people are starting to understand too. Like, that's sort of like where I feel most comfortable, and what excites me and gets my heart going like crazy and my palms sweaty is like the quantum field and
Yeah.
quantum mechanics. And I think we all know there's something else out there. And what my mission is sort of just it is right at this moment is to, I want people every day to wake up, and the first thought is, what am I going to do today? Because every second, every millisecond is a possibility.
Yeah, definitely.
The energy of the universe, of the quantum field, is there for everyone, and it's there to use, and it's this huge tool. And I know humans, we're so innately smart, but we've been relying on things so much outside of ourselves. And I'm sort of like trying to turn that back in. And I believe that all that we need is inside of us. And a lot of the answers to that are in that quantum field.
Yeah.
And I'm just so excited when I talk to people about that, because it's like, imagine that you're feeling kind of, beat down by your job or the things you have to do. And it's like, I'm there saying, but do you have to do them? Or is that what you're telling yourself? What do you really have to do every day? You have to breathe, you have to eat, you have to do certain things, but there's a whole world out there of possibilities. And I think that a lot of people are aware of that now, but I think there's some people that aren't. And I love it when I talk to somebody and I'm like, you just have to awaken that and open yourself up to it. And there it is. It's there waiting for you.
Yeah.
And I think we're just scratching the surface, not even of what the quantum field and human, it's all there for us, all the answers, everything that we want, it's all right there. And I feel like we're so, so close to accessing all of it for all of humanity. I think we're really going to start to realize that the universe has always had everything that we need right there. We just didn't see it. We don't see it. I think some
Yeah.
people tap into it. They might not know what it's called. They might not know what it is, but that's so exciting to me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's super exciting to me too. Definitely. And it's like when you find it, it's this huge gift that just keeps on giving, which makes your, like, it can have a really horrible, dull life. And then all of a sudden you find this little thing inside of you and it just sparks so much joy and happiness that it can even transform your DNA. Like, that's how powerful the thing is. I think the interesting part is making people that has no clue, they're not aware, they're not awake, they are still just in lack and survival every day, just going about doing the same thing over and over again. And then when we get to touch them just a little, or get to be around people like that, and they realize there's something else out there, where they have this feeling of, I think it's a feeling of community, or it's definitely a shared experience when you get this, because when you're with other people, you feel it. It's a physical feeling. You get sweaty palms, you have like heat flashes, almost tingles, like goosebumps. Even when I talk about it, I can feel it. It's a feeling that comes from within. And I hope that some of the work that we're going to do with, especially for me, with children, that we're going to teach them the superpower, that you have so much love inside of you that it's unbearable when you tap into all of it. And it's so easy to share when you find it.
Yeah, I remember when we spoke, like my palms were sweaty, my electronics were going on and off because our energies were just like so strong, but you're getting the chills at the same time you're sweating.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels good, even though that it's weird.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
it's a comfortable feeling.
I remember the first time that I experienced joy. And I don't mean like joy like when you're watching somebody open up a present that you gave them. There's that joy as in like inside. Like there's just like such an odd, I was like, what is that? Is there something, is that my stomach? What is, And then I was like, I think I'm happy. I think I'm feeling joy. It was almost like I didn't recognize it.
Yeah.
Because I'm and I think there's a lot of us out there like that, where every day it's like we get that anxiety churn and this, and so we're so used to that kind of stuff and the panic attacks, and all of a sudden we feel, I was like, what is that? And then I was like, this is an odd feeling, and I was like, oh my God, I think this is like what it feels like to feel joy, like in your body, not just as an emotion, but like it's like it almost like wakes up your whole body, and it's like all your energy centers go, the lights go do 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 do, like even brighter, you know. It's
Yeah.
like if a bulb is getting ready to maybe expire, but then it has this like last bit of light, you know. So everything in the it's like everything in the house goes from being dim to like all of a sudden bright, and that's that feeling of joy inside, and it's part of tapping into the energetic field and realizing that there are other ways of communicating, and more important ways of communicating. I mean, we're already doing it all the time. We just don't realize the energy signals that we're sending off. And some people, like when I get on with them on Messenger or Zoom, like we just stare at each other for a minute because we're just like our energy, maybe, you know, our souls or something, or like we're just looking at each other, and
Yeah.
everything's being said and nothing's being said. And
Yeah.
it's almost like when you meet another like-minded person, you don't really even need words. Like we didn't need to talk about, like you and I didn't talk a lot about like, but we just know we have like this stuff, and like we know like our intermission, like we didn't even talk about that. Like we just knew like, okay, this is a like person, and this is a person that we can learn so much from each other.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's the feeling I have. Like it's the community inside. Like when I meet other people that belong in the community, I can feel it. And I know that we all belong in that community.
Right.
And I know that all people have different paths they have to take to get there.
Yes.
Like I was lucky enough to just get kind of dumped in it. And then in the beginning, I really didn't feel that lucky because I did kind of feel a little bit crazy. But then when you find your people, you find your tribe, you figure out what it is, and you start to figure out what you can use it for. And for me, I'm thinking about it like it's a natural law, like gravity. We all know it. It's not like you don't know gravity, you're going to fly off the earth. That's not how gravity works. And that it's the same with the quantum field. It's there for all of us to use. And when you find your path to get into it, or get to know it, or get to play with it, or be a part of it, you know that you are home.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's the feeling of now I'm home. This is my community, and you can feel it inside. And I think that is something I really want to teach humanity. And I know that you want to, when they get there, help them guide through guide them in it, because
Yes.
it is a different feeling to be a human, all of a sudden knowing about and feeling that you are part of something bigger, but you don't know what it is. It can be confusing, and also it changes you profoundly as a human.
It changes you because you're so powerful, but yet to feel the power, you have to first surrender to it.
And be humble to it. So it's a weird thing if you like, oh, I got this power now and I'll use it over other people. That's just not how it works. That's
No.
gonna make it not work at all.
No.
So
And that's
it's a
what's
tool
so
you need
hard.
to learn how to use, right?
Yeah, and that's what's so hard for some. Yeah, it's hard. It's sometimes it's almost like riding a bike. You can take somebody through the motions of it. You can, and until they kind of feel that their balance, and they get into that little mode, and then they're like, and that's kind of what it's like, and for some people they're actively seeking it and working on getting there, and for some people they're just thrown into it. Some people have always been there, but they fought it. That was me, and so yeah, and then to be in it, I think as humans we're always struggling, like if I just work harder, if I just figure this out, if I just do this, and unfortunately there's so much misinformation out there. Like,
Yeah.
just put together this board with what you want on it, and it leaves a lot of people feeling empty and frustrated, which is exactly what we don't want. We want everyone, if everyone wakes up every day and realizes that, the world is their kingdom. It's everyone's kingdom, and that we can make changes. We can connect with people. We can, what a different world it would be every day if we woke up thinking, how can I connect? Whose day can I make today? I want to be a day maker. That's my new career. You know, imagine what that's like no matter what we're doing, whether we're cutting someone's hair or whatever it is, like it's so easy to when you're in that energy to just, you make everyone else around you feel good. And that's no small thing either. So it's just, and I don't know, I'm like, sometimes I don't have the words for it because I just want it for everyone.
Yeah.
I want
I think
everyone
that
to have
that's,
it.
and it's free, right? And
It's
it's
free.
abundant, and there's love in there, and there's like so much stuff that we've, yeah. I think it's an interesting uh it's an interesting idea that this, like, I want to share it. I want to share it so bad that I want to stuff it down your throat even if you don't want it.
I know, it's so funny. I actually, like I give these free readings to people and they'll be, and like out of 100 people, they're all like, oh my God, this is great. Okay. And then there's like these two people and no judgment at all. It just shows you that we're so used to, you know, the world in a different, seeing it in a different way that they'll be like, why are you doing it for free? What
Yeah.
is this? What is this
So it has
scam?
no value now because it's free. Mhm.
Yeah. And what is this? What is this thing that you're going to, and I get, it, and I just send back something loving, like, exactly what I'm doing. And they're like, oh my God, that's awesome. But it's just really interesting that there's, there's still a lot of people. I was one of them not too long ago that,
Yeah. I think there's a lot of people who've been horribly hurt,
yes,
and a lot of people who carry a lot of body pain from everywhere. If we think about that, we are like recycled souls, and we look of what has happened to humanity. It's no wonder that a lot of the souls here are not doing well, because we have been, through, yeah, I don't even want to go there, because everybody's thinking back in time, and then they know we've been connected to horrible things throughout time. And I'm sure that the collective pain in our whole soul of humanity has a lot of work to be done before we can just be all happy and rainbow and unicorns.
yes.
um
And,
and
and
it's not necessarily all of us want to feel like all happy and unicorns, and that's not the goal for this. The goal is to be like, for yourself, joyful. and
yes,
and if
exactly.
you feel joyful yourself, that energy will emanate, and other people around you will feel more joyful, compared to if you are feeling depressed and you're suffering and you're hurt. And if that, other people can feel that too. And there's also, I mean, a bit of self accountability in doing the work for yourself. When, if you have family, if you have anybody around you that you care for, you might also want to think about, what kind of energy am I emanating around these people, right? So I think this is it's a very interesting thing to be joyful and happy, and work on that as something you do for yourself, because it is a little selfish. And I feel that for a lot of people are being like, oh, but like, I don't have time to work on myself. I can't take time out of my busy day schedule life to do this for me. But I feel it's like sitting in the airplane, right? There's no oxygen. You need to help yourself before you can help anybody else. Otherwise, you're worth nothing to anyone. And so
Yeah.
it's actually, how do you not have time to take care of, especially your energy? If you want to be a joyful, happy person, you can't be busy in your life all the time, not thinking about your own joy and happiness, because you're not going to be joyful and happy.
Right. It's like we will spend, hundreds of dollars being a woman, right? Getting our hair done or going and get our nails. We spend all that time. And I'm not saying we shouldn't, but I'm saying we will go to the doctor for an annual checkup.
Yeah.
And those are all important things. But no one's paying attention to their energy. Like the energy is like it's the message that goes out into the world.
It's the only thing we have that is completely free and yours, and it can create miracles or it can create hell.
Right. And it's, I talk to women all the time, men all the time too. And they're like, oh, I just keep attracting the same kind of man or the same kind of woman. And it's like because that's what you think you're worthy of. That's where you are. We need to, we need to work on your vibration. And how you do that is, you kind of have to, I mean, some of us have come in, like, even if some people can't go there for past lives, let's just say, but what about, we are our cells, right? Our cells come from our line, our lineage. It's in our DNA. So whatever, my great great grandmother could have been a victim of a crime, and that's in her. That was in her cell. That's in her DNA. That's in my. It's somewhere in there. And so sometimes it's just a matter of reprogramming that.
Yeah.
So there's just so many things that we can do, things that are holding us. Like I give people a visual all the time that from the time even before we're born, there's video of watching, a fetus in the womb. If the parents are fighting, it jumps. So we're starting with reading energy in the womb, right?
Yeah.
And it's like each time we experience something like that, we're holding a bag. A bag goes on our backs, and each time somebody, you're in grammar school, and a friend that you loved decided she didn't want to be your friend, she wanted to be someone else's friend, and so that then we put that baggage on, and maybe our mother and father didn't get to go to any of our baseball games or our dance recitals, and so we feel like nobody cared, and each one of those is like a little bag that we carry. The boyfriend that I loved broke up with me, I'm not worthy of being loved, that's another bag. And so we're walking around with all these bags. And if we can start to, it's not going to like, oh, boom, there goes all the bags. It's not like, no, but one bag at a time. One bag goes off. It's just like losing weight. If you have 30 pounds that you need, after you have a baby, or you have 30 pounds you want to lose, you lose a couple pounds and you say, that's no big deal, but you feel it. You feel lighter, you know, and,
Yeah.
that outfit that you had on yesterday all of a sudden looks different and you feel different. And that's what doing the energy, doing the working on our vibration, doing the work on ourselves. Each time we do that, we can drop a bag, and how beautiful it feels each time we drop a bag. And every time we drop a bag, our energy centers open up and the light comes out, and we're drawing different people to us now because they're feeling that vibration, and on it goes. And that is so beautiful. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to take, to your point, it doesn't have to take a lot of our time. But each time we drop a bag, each time we do that, our vibration changes and life gets a little bit easier.
Yeah, definitely.
And we go through our life quick, we get things done quicker because we've gotten rid of some of the gunk that's been holding us back, and we're dropping some of those bags that are slowing us down, and we're thinking more clearly, and things are just, it's like we all have those days where we wake up and like, oh, this coffee's perfect, and oh, I go to work and I got the perfect parking place, and oh, I got like, my order for lunch was perfect, and we're like, this is the luckiest day ever. Then we have those days where we wake up and the coffee pot's broken and it's all, and you're like, oh man, and this is the worst day ever. Well, if you're saying that, that's probably exactly what you're going to get. And it's about having those good vibe days all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
That can be your reality.
Yeah. It is. It is. It is hard to imagine when you haven't tried it, but when you do the work and you know that this is true, like I hardly have green lights ever. I hardly have any traffic in front of me. My food always comes really fast at the restaurant, or somebody ordered something wrong that, do you want this? And it's the perfect thing for me. I definitely have the magic going on. There's so much magic, or happy lucky coincidences, or you can call it what you want, but it's a manifestation of being joyful and happy, and knowing that is also how reality can be, knowing
Yeah.
that in your heart. But when we talk about doing the work, if I didn't know anything about what you and I were talking about, I would be really confused. What is the work?
It can
Doing
be,
the work, what is that? What does that mean for instance, you to be connected to this feeling of joy and happy? What kind of work do you do to get to that point?
I don't have a one size fits all, and I didn't do one thing. And I think that's what I love about what I do is I look at myself as like the old fashioned doctor that used to come to the house and he had this bag and then what are your symptoms? Okay. And then he takes out something, checks a few things, and he digs back in his bag and he's like, take this. He doesn't have one set of pills. He doesn't have one set of instruments. And I think everybody has to be met where they're ready to go. And it's what resonates for that person at that moment. Some of the work that I've done recently, I would never have done years ago. So it's like the layers of an onion. You know, we're peeling back those layers of an onion, and each time we go, we can go a little deeper. We can go. You know, I can do a regression or a hypnosis today that I did 2 days ago, and I have a completely different outcome today because I'm different every, you know, my vibration is increasing every day and I'm ready and open to new things all the time. So I'm always up leveling, right? Where our vibration is, and that's not like an ego thing. Up leveling just means, you know, you're getting lighter, you're getting closer to source, the universe. You're opening up to that, to the quantum field and all its possibilities. If you're not open to receiving it, it's going to slam up against a glass wall or a brick wall or a concrete wall. And, you know, energy is such a powerful thing, but most people don't even pay attention to what their signal is they're sending out. And it's not the same signal every day. You know, if you wake up and you have a migraine or you have something that upset your stomach the night before, the next day your energy system's not going to be maybe the beacon of light that you want it to be. You know, so maybe that experience that day might not be, but none of those things drag me down anymore. And I'm sure you're the same way, you know. If you get that phone call, I mean, I got a phone call the other day. Oh, we're going to shut off your electricity. Didn't pay it. I get everything through email. Somehow I didn't see it or I saw it and I said, I'll do it. Before I would have been like, oh my God, you know, what does this mean about me? What does this person think about me? It was simple. I'm doing a million things and I forgot it. I paid it and I moved on.
Yeah.
So things that maybe would have stopped us and said, what does this mean about me? What am I not, you know, oh, beat myself up about it. I just forgot it. It's okay. So nothing really changes too much, you know, and if I wake up with a headache, I'm sitting there doing some meditation, you know, and the next thing I know, I'm okay. You know, sometimes, yeah, I take an ibuprofen or something, but I mean, it doesn't change fundamentally my vibration.
No.
Because I'm working on it all the time. So to answer your question, which, you know, to put it out there, work can look like this. It can be doing meditations. It can be doing meditations on your chakra system. Some people don't even know they have the chakra system. So it's just even waking up to the fact that we have that. Paying attention can be small little things like paying attention to your self-talk. If you drop a glass, do you say mean things in your head to yourself, you know, whereas if somebody else, your friend dropped the glass, you know, would you say, oh my God, what's the matter with you? You're so stupid, you know? No. So why do we say it to ourselves? So sometimes it's just starting people just little bits by little bit. Sometimes there's just so many different things that you can work on. There's tapping, there's just so many different methods for getting us where we need to be, and no individual is on the exact same path. So I like to be open to where they are and what they're comfortable with and what makes sense for them. And, you know, and I have lots of different modalities, lots of different things that they can do. And sometimes it's, hey, I think this person would be really good for you. Sometimes maybe it's not me that's the best thing for them.
Yeah.
So I think that's another thing that we all need to look at is, are we looking at what's best for everybody around us and even professionally?
Yeah. I definitely think the whole accountability, self-accountability on your energy is something I like to talk to people about. And especially, I think if you have good friends in I don't know, the later years where people are so confused and everything is falling apart around, like almost everybody I know has like things that they're so not happy about happening in their life, and they take these things with them everywhere they go and they put them on friends and family to talk about for hours and hours about the bad thing they don't want in their life, which is actually growing the thing they don't want, to put energy on it and talk about it over and over again. So I'm lately, for me, I've tell people do the work. And for me, the work has been doing 2 times a day, 15 minutes of deep breathing and telling yourself all the lovely things you want to hear other people tell you.
Yeah.
So when you breathe out, I love you. Breathe in and breathe out, and you're beautiful. Breathe out, breathe in, and you got so much patience. I don't know. You can work on things you don't have and put them in your breathing as well. For
Yeah.
some people, that works. That's just breath. It's just breathing deep and knowing yourself energy, feeling the energy, just breathing, and then you can maybe change it by telling yourself beautiful things.
Yeah. A lot of times we just need to start. It depends on where the person's at. If they're at the base level, it's just instinct. It's knowing like, hey, how about this? How about we work on it, and then we kind of slowly take them to where they're comfortable, and we keep peeling back those layers of the onion, It's fascinating. I've got all these things going on in my head, as I know you do, because there's just so much I want to share with people and I want to tell them. And it's like, I was somebody that, was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. I couldn't get off the couch. If I had to, I was home during the day when the kids were at school, whatever. And I would sit there and go, I need water, or I need this. And I would start to cry, because that would mean I have to get up and walk, because it was so painful.
Yeah.
And so my whole journey of figuring out that this pain was suppressed, stuff that I pressed down for so many years, and intellectually was like, okay, all right, yep, that kind of stunk, but I'm okay. I can deal with it. But I didn't deal with it. And so it's how, I love to help people that are similar, have a lot of aches and pains and just debilitating, and help them through their journey, because it took me a while, but I got through it. And now I wake up every day and I don't, sometimes my neck will hurt from being on the computer too much or something like that, but it's nothing like what I went through. And I cannot tell you the joy what that feels like, to go from being in so much pain every single day, and not being able to enjoy life. Like everything was an effort, everything, to now just like being, moving around, doing everything. And it's just I want everyone to feel that.
Yeah. Yeah. The sharing of the joy and the beauty in life is what amazes me most about the quantum field work, is that everybody that hits it wants to share it. It's not one of those things. You can't keep it for yourself. It's not like, can almost keep it inside. It's definitely shareable. Yeah. I hope that the Think Different Global movement will help people around the world feel joy. And I really want them to participate in growing their own joy, because selfishly for me, I know that's going to mean they're going to help the world feel better. So
yeah. I think this Think Global is just amazing. Every time I think about it or I see a post, my heart quickens, because it's an interesting thing. Somebody can write something down on paper, post it, but if the energy and the love and the message isn't behind it, it falls flat.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing, because you think of the written word is the written word and the post is the post, and but it's like, that's just thinking with like, that's like a tiny millisecond of a millimeter, whatever you want to say, measurement of what it actually is. And because the behind the message and the love behind it is what grabs people. They might not be aware of why they're drawn to it, but they're like, yeah, I want that. Where there could be one right above it and below it to say the exact same thing, but you didn't say that.
Yeah, it's true. The energies that is out there is super important. And it's actually every day when you have a choice, and every moment you have a choice, right? When you're dealing with other people, am I going to react to this with love and compassion, or just let it rip with anger.
Yeah.
And to take like just a little tiny step back, breathe, think about it. I'm sure that all of us would prefer to choose the loving way and the loving communication. So trying to get us from just being reactive all the time to be more, I don't know, more calm.
Yeah, because being reactive is a big indicator that there's some work to be done, right? We've all been we've all been there.
Oh, and I think even like I was about to say, even Eckhart Tolle has work to be done. Like they're like the Dalai Lama, all of us have in those moments where we lose connection with ourselves and where we just like spin off something that really trigger us.
We're
Know.
human. We're human.
But I mean, I had a really interesting experience myself yesterday where I reacted completely different than I would have any other time in my life. And I actually did react the way that I normally did for like 2 seconds. I walked away from this really angry person that was putting the system on me that I wasn't fitting into, and it was like bad, and she was yelling at me in front of a lot of people, and I had a friend with me that left because she's got all of a sudden she was so anxious, and I walked away and I turned away from this person just to walk straight back and in her face, open-hearted, with love, and told her why I didn't fit into her way of doing things right here. And then I actually had my thing resolved, and it seemed like everybody that was listening to her yelling at me in the first place, they felt really bad and sad for me. So that whole thing, I felt it on so many people, even though it was only supposed to be mine, but it wasn't. It was everybody's. And because I turned around and I went back and I resolved the issue open-heartedly, and I apologized profoundly for not being the person she wanted me to be and have my papers in order and everything, she also found like a different light in her, like, oh, maybe I was a little bit hard on this person. So we actually ended up communicating really nice and lovingly and open-heartedly, and everybody in this waiting area all of a sudden felt way better and were smiling. Yeah. And when I left, I got like looks of people were like, you did that really well, thank you. Because sometimes it's just your own attitude, right? I got really angry but my brain went like, oh, but we don't do that anymore. This is not how we react because I've done the work. This is not the way we react. So I walked away being angry and knowing in the car on the way back home, probably I'm going to be so angry. I drove 2 hours to return something, and then I couldn't get it from them because I didn't have the right paper. And I never got the right paper in the first place. So it's like, oh my God, right? But instead, it ended up being a really lovely experience. I even think the person working in that office, I hope that she tomorrow or maybe today will think more about how she interacts with people.
Yeah. And I get that all the time. Like, my mom will say, well, you can say, you're the only one that can say that to your father, or you're the only, nobody gets mad at you when you say this. And it's not like I'm magic. It's just, I speak from the heart, and I'm not, my tonality is different. Everything's different because my intention is different.
Yeah.
And so
that's the work, right? That's when you do the work and your brain realizes, oh, we can be joy and fun and happy and loving, even when people are shitty to us, even when we have a difficult situation in front of us. We can choose to engage with the situation open-heartedly and loving.
Yes. And that's another big thing is, working in the triggers and the judgments. It's the same thing. Like, if your significant other comes home and says, wow, you didn't do the dishes, and you answer back, why? Am I supposed to do the dishes? That's different than, oh, did we agree that I was to do the dishes? That's different than, oh, am I supposed to do the dishes? Like, you can say the same exact sentence.
Yeah.
Well, my intention when I say, why? I didn't know it was my job to do it, is sassy and different. Or you can just say, why? I wasn't aware that was that my job today to do the dishes? That's a completely different, that's just saying it flat. Like, did I forget? Oh, maybe we agreed that I would do the dishes and I forgot. to why is it my job? Like, who are you to tell, that's a whole different thing. And that's all about our energy behind it. Now, if I'm triggered because for some reason I feel like maybe I should have done the dishes, maybe I'm not good enough. Oh my God, I'm a terrible partner. That's when you answer reactively.
Yeah.
When you answer straight and say, oh, was I supposed to do the dishes? Did we talk about that? Like that's a completely different, that's not you just triggered me. Yeah, you're right. What's wrong with me? That's just like, oh, did we agree on that? I don't remember. Like, so,
Yeah. And
and
it's open-hearted for your own self. Like that's your own energy is reflecting, right? So I like when I talk to my son about reacting to bullies or when people are saying something really bad to him and he feels like he should say something bad back. And we have this conversation, but would that be loving to you? Like, do you want to feel like a bully? Is that what you want to do for your own energy? And he realizes that he's very accountable for his own energy. And when people try to interact with him and be mean, he's just fun about it. Like he just makes it into something fun so it doesn't touch him. And I kind of adapted that for a while, being a grown up, not knowing how to stop when people were like angry at me. And I felt like, oh my God, I didn't do that. This is not my fault. And I didn't want to keep telling myself I wasn't good enough, or obviously they are angry at me because I should have done something different. For a while, honestly, I just started like sticking my tongue out at people. Just like a child would do when you're like, I don't want to listen to you right now. And so it's not very mature, but it made people stop talking and it shifted the energy completely. And that was my whole goal. And then after that, I could tell them I'm evolving and I don't want to be in this energy that was just happening right now. And that made me really upset. Now we can talk about something different, or we can talk about not being in that energy. So yeah, there's different paths you can take to feel better.
Yes. And bully energy is definitely something that's been a recent, peeling back of the onion for me as well. I was always a pleaser, and so a bully, I would be like, oh my God, okay, what I did, and I realized that part of it was I needed to be okay with standing up a little bit,
Yeah.
I mean, what we're talking about with kids is a completely kind of different energy, but when we're talking about full grown adults and business transactions and things, you realize that it's, for me, I just needed to, I had bully energy from childhood, and it took me back, it took me back there. And, that was a huge growth for me.
Yeah.
A huge growth for me. And so, it's not like, oh, we're so evolved. We don't have anything. No, we still have things that we're always, because new things come. The more you rise up, the more that people get pulled in and you're on a different level and you have different level problems, right? Like when we were 2, we had 2-year-old problems. When we were 4, we had 4-year-old problems. You don't get 10-year-old problems when you're 2. And it's the same thing when your vibration gets higher. Different things come to the surface, and that's beautiful. And we always have to be learning and reaching out. But if you're in that field, that quantum field of possibilities, knowing that everything is possible and everything is there for us, it changes everything.
Yeah. It makes everything way easier.
Imagine as you are, because you just, you guys started this whole Think Globally thing. If everybody around the world, is turning on, I envision it right now as I'm talking to you, like everyone around the world's like their light is turning on.
Let's turn their lights on.
That's what we're here for. I just got goosebumps again. I want to turn everyone's lights on. I want the quantum field to be like, ooh, just swirling around and in everybody's in the quantum field and feels what it's like to be in there, and we're all dancing around, and what a beautiful thing, and everything is possible.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a beautiful last note. Everything is possible.
Yes,
I think a bright future where we have decent education, where we have free thriving for people, urban gardens, food everywhere we can pick, where we, like, the smart people will teach what we really need to know and not stuff we don't really need anymore. I mean, there's lots and lots and lots of stuff you can learn, and you can teach yourself all the things that you want to know. But I think in the beginning, we have to teach everyone to be joyful and happy and healthy and part of a big community where we really want to thrive.
If we just started out with one thing, just emotional intelligence and joy with children, the
Yeah.
impact that that would have globally is mind-boggling.
Yeah. We are going to do that.
I know you are. We are. I'm super excited and I'm so happy to have been able to be on here today and talk about some of this stuff. I'm really
Yeah.
excited, and it was
Yeah.
nice to be here and share it with you.
We truly appreciate you took the time and talked to us.
Anytime, I'm here.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Are you there, Aman?